Welcome back to Big Trouble in Little Podcast. I'm Andy.
I'm Jazz.
I'm Joe Dubs.
I'm Zach.
This is episode 332. We are doing movies that an AI chose for us. I don't know if we have some slick name for this season or this.
I just wrote AI picked.
AI picked. I don't know, whatever. This was my pick. It gave us a list of 10, and I saw The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, and I said, "Oh yeah, that's a good movie. I want to watch that." How'd you spell The Assassination of Jesse's or something? I don't know, whatever. It's it's in the title of the video here. It looks so weird.
I wrote Jesse's. Yeah, you're right.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert
30
Ford.
minutes to set up.
I watched this movie last year for the first time. This is why I picked it. I watched this movie last year for the first time and really liked it. And I don't know anyone who's seen it. Like, everyone kind of skipped it. When it was at theaters, it made $3 million domestically, which is nothing.
Jesus.
Holy crap, that's a bomb.
It did a bad job. And people said it's boring and it's too long and it's slow and there's not enough action and the title is too long and stupid. And producers were very angry about this movie getting made. But it had... real quick, an interesting thing about the title is it is based on a book, and the name of the book is the same thing. The book came out in 1983, but Brad Pitt signed on to be in this movie and to be a producer. Brad Pitt was a producer on this movie, and a big part of why it came out the way it did is because he was a believer in this movie, and he had written into his contract, "I will star in this movie, but you're not allowed to change the title. If you change the title, I walk." So they had to keep this long-ass title to keep Brad Pitt as their headlining star. But anyway, I watched this movie because I rewatched, I think it was No Country for Old Men. It was either that or There Will Be Blood. And I did a Google search. I said, what movies feel like No Country for Old Men but are different? Something I haven't seen before. I think what I wanted to ask, what I should ask Google is, what movie feels like a Cormac McCarthy book but isn't written by Cormac McCarthy? And this one's kind of close to that, I feel like. And there was a Reddit post, and it said, Assassination of Jesse James, blah, blah, blah. A bunch of people agreed with it. I said, fine, I'll watch this fucking 3-hour movie. I watched it. I really liked it. And I've been looking for an opportunity to get you guys to watch it, and that opportunity presented itself, and I watched it this time, and I liked it even more. Like, it went from, I like this movie a lot, to, this is one of my favorite movies ever made. I was telling them before we started recording that I accidentally went all the way down the rabbit hole in researching this movie. I've read the wiki and all the trivia and interviews with the director and interviews with the cinematographer, who is Roger Deakins, and is a genius, by the way. And now I'm really anxious to talk about the movie, and I'm rambling a little bit. What did you guys think about it? Did you think it was boring like everyone else does?
No, I actually liked it because it was boring in a way because of the tension that it was building. There was a certain type of tension for every scene, especially when they didn't know if Jesse James was there to kill them. The whole train scene and stuff where like Jesse's fucking anger got in the way when he beat up that kid and then cried by the horse and stuff. So
it's almost like he's a ruthless outlaw or something.
If I had to say, I think it's an outlaw that spent all his life being a fucking douchebag and, you know, doing outlaw things and finding out that time is creeping up on him.
That's more or less true. Like this movie and the book, I guess. I haven't read the book, so I'm making some assumptions. But it tries to be a character study about Jesse James, a guy we don't know a ton about. We don't know everything about him. But kind of what you're saying, like he was always kind of a violent asshole. He was, I think, 16, and it was 1861 or 2 or so, and like a bunch of Union soldiers came to his family farm looking for his older brother Frank, and they like would beat him up, or they were assholes or something. And he said, "Man, fuck the Union. I'm gonna become a guerrilla fighter." And basically, from when he was 16, he went and became a bushwhacker and was fighting the Union Army. And then when the war ended, this lieutenant, I think, was like, the war's not over for me. We're going to keep fighting the Union. And they started like robbing Union banks and like basically just being guerrilla fighters after the Civil War had ended. And then that guy gets killed. And Jesse James is like, wow, I've been doing this since I was 16. I literally don't know how to do anything else. So he gets the thing together and starts robbing banks and trains and basically just does that until he dies.
Yeah. It's just interesting. And every shot was like beautifully done. And I love the sound in this movie.
Yeah, the sound design is really good. And the cinematography, you said was great. It's Roger Deakins. He's the one who does all the cinematography for like all the Coen Brothers movies and a bunch of other stuff. He did cinematography for Blade Runner 2049. He did cinematography for, No Country for Old Men and Oh Brother Where Art Thou and Serious Man and a bunch of other stuff.
That makes total sense now. And I was with the sound, and I'm not even talking about music. It's just like they're in a house that is all like everything's all fucking wood, and you just hear every single sound of that house and stuff.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and it's just like it's really cool, seeing that, and then obviously hearing the crowd as well in the background. It made it feel like real in a way.
The only thing that I didn't like sound design wise is I don't think guns are loud enough. That's the only whine I have about the sound design in this movie. Everything else is perfect, but guns needed to be scarier, I think.
I agree with that. That was pretty much the only thing I didn't really like about this movie was that the gun sounds were just
like, especially at the end when he fires the gun in the bar when Nick Cave is singing that song about what a coward he is, and he fires a gun and says, "I'm Robert Ford," or whatever, and there was 2 kids. He throws his gun. Like that needed to be terrifying. That needed to make people jump in their seat. But it's just kind of like,
it's a pop gun.
Yeah, most of them sounded that way.
Chaz, what about you? What do you think about this movie?
It was fine.
Can you elaborate?
No, I'm kidding. I actually really enjoyed it. So at first, when we first got on, behind the scenes for everybody, you made the comment that this movie was boring or long or something, and I said I like went with it, but while I heard that, I was processing. I was like, oh man, I thought he liked this movie. Is he gonna shit on this movie? Are we gonna like be at odds? Because I actually really enjoyed it. The movie is long, but I'd say for the most part I didn't feel it. There were a couple of parts toward the beginning where it's all still set up. But honestly, it's anytime they weren't focused on Jesse or Bob is where it for me it got a little lax. That was about the only thing.
They have to provide like some weird background about like why Jeremy Renner gets killed. So they have to go into Kentucky, and you got to see that all the stuff happens with Dick Little and blah blah blah. And
it made sense after the fact. All right, like I saw it, I was like, okay, now I get why all that has to be there. But first, I'm watching the movie, and I'm thinking, okay, this long ass title, and I'm watching so many minutes of shit that doesn't involve them at all. Like, how is this tied in? But it did. So it wasn't like, oh, I gotta. Yeah, so but the amount of tension in this movie it's one of those things where it's a weird time dilation mind trick. Like if you get sucked into this movie and get sucked into the tension, especially when the Ford brothers are effectively like basically kidnapped by Jesse. Like he's with them, like they can't leave, like they'll die. They do anything that step out of line, like he's gonna kill them. Like it's just you're waiting for a time bomb to go off. So watching that, it feels you have this simultaneous feeling of every second is just drawn out so much longer because of the tension, but it also actually makes the movie go a lot faster. Right? I don't know. It's a way to explain it, but yeah, that said, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought some of the shots, especially like there's shots that I think that get overlooked in the movie that are beautiful. Like there's some of the shots during winter that were gorgeous.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up tension wise. But yeah, the shots when they're in the mountains, when Charlie and Jesse are in the mountains, and he like kicks some snow off the frozen lake and is like looking at the fish and shoots his gun a few times. The scenery there is amazing, but also that scene is like terrifying because what's his point? What's happening?
Yeah, is he gonna kill him? Like he's literally telling him how he killed another guy for basically he assumes is crossing him, and he's just unstable, right? Like they have no idea to know what he's gonna do, and yet his brother's just not very smart, right? That's the other part of it too. His brother's an idiot.
I don't think
So-
anyone in this movie is too much of a genius. Like the whole
Oh, sure,
first half
sure.
of the movie, honestly, the whole movie, I would argue, except maybe toward the end, Robert Ford, Bob, is played kind of like maybe he got hit in the head a little too hard when he was a kid. Like he's got this weird. It's like an autism, and I'm not saying it as a meme or a joke. Like he almost has like
he has
some
an
weird,
obsession.
He has a hyper obsession about Jesse James and the Jesse James gang and Frank James, and it develops into this hero worship, and it really comes off like autism or something. Like he's got something. There's like a screw loose or something, and it's played extremely well, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's very unsettling.
It kind of reminds me of the guy like that killed John Lennon, where he like fantasized and thought John Lennon was a great guy and then ended up fucking killing him. Is like it's kind of like the same situation. With
it is kind of you're right actually. I mean, there's that part toward the end where they go to I think it's Good Friday service or something, and Bob like lies in his bed and is like looking at his finger and like smelling the bed sheets and stuff, like being a real creep.
Yeah. Such a creep that his wife despises him. Like, he's like, why is he here? Like,
you didn't say Bob was going to be here.
Yeah.
Well, and Jesse knows very early on when he meets this kid, he knows what's up. Like, there's that scene in the bath where he sneaks up on him and he calls him out. He's like, "Oh, I'd never see you with your gun." He shows his guns under his towel, and then he says, "Do you want to be like me, or do you want to be me?" And then he dismisses him the next day. He sends him on to live with all the others. So, yeah, he does a good job of playing like a little creepy weirdo guy. He's got something going on, and like clearly he's upset about it too, because like his brother, anytime they bring it up that he's obsessed, then there's always this tension there. He's always really upset about it, and I don't know. It's interesting though. The other set piece I was going to bring up was the one toward the end of the film. It's like right as it's the day he gets assassinated, and he's like walking back from town like to his house with his boy, and Bob's standing outside saying something to him about, "Oh, do you think it's smart to be walking around with those guns, on your waist?" And there's a background shot behind Brad Pitt, and it shows it's like this hill that goes down, and it shows the entire city. Like it's beautiful, like how far back and how like they put so much depth in getting so much of that shot in. So I think it's just neat stuff like that. Like there was a lot of thought into how they were going to just do like that. That easily could have just been a close up on Brad Pitt and that's it. But they made sure intentionally to include environments and set pieces like that, and give a lot of depth to it. So, yeah, the movie's incredibly well shot. I thought the music throughout was pretty good for the setting. This is also like again, I don't know how much of this is star-studded more for like what these people do after, but there's a lot of star power in this movie. Like there are a lot of people in this movie that went on to have pretty successful careers if they weren't already. Obviously Brad Pitt, but
Brad Pitt was already big. I think like Jeremy Renner and Sam Rockwell went on to get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone else, I think, was a star, I guess.
Yeah,
I believe this is
also Zooey Deschanel is barely in it at the end, which is really weird.
Yeah, it was fucking weird.
Mary-Louise Parker is his wife. Like, has almost nothing. Like, she just shows up and shows her face a few times. But I mean, she's went on later to be in a lot of films and TV shows. Like, yeah, there are a ton of people that pretty successful. I had the same thought you did. I don't know. I know who Casey Affleck is, but I couldn't tell you a movie he was in.
No.
But,
when did The Hurt Locker come out?
I don't remember.
It has to be around this time.
Around this time.
I thought it was 06 or 07.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was somewhat big, and then I think after this, like, Avengers was being talked about, and possibly starting to film. So that's when Hawkeye and then Sam, like I said in Facebook Messenger, Sam Rockwell is an underrated actor. He literally has so much fucking range. It's really fucking cool.
Have you guys seen Moon?
Yes.
That was the movie that was made almost specifically to show what a good actor he is, and it succeeded.
I mean, I've been a fan of his ever since he was drinking Pan-Galactic Gargle Blasters, Hitchhiker's Guide. But that's a whole different movie in itself. But he's got good range for sure.
Zach, what about you? What's your opinion about this movie?
I liked it pretty well. At first, I was kind of wondering like when it was going to really get going. I did kind of feel the length of this movie just a little bit at certain times. But as it kind of went, I was able to get into it more. And I don't really have much negative to say about it other than that maybe it was just a touch little long, possibly, and the bad gun sounds.
Yeah. Now, what if the movie was longer, though?
I don't know.
I feel like there's a reason you're saying that. Is there like another cut of this movie that has more?
Supposedly, now, according to Roger Deakins, at the Venice Film Festival, they showed a 4-hour cut of this movie.
Oh, shit.
They had to cut it down, but according to the director, Roger Deakins doesn't know what he's talking about, and the director's cut is 2 hours and 55 minutes long. And he says, I wanted at some point to like just burn it on DVDs and sell it at this movie store around the corner from my apartment, just to like be a weirdo. But then COVID happened and he never got around to it. Now all the movie stores are closed, and he says, so that's out the window. And he said in an interview, Criterion passed on releasing the director's cut version, and to this day, the only way you can buy this movie is on Blu-ray from Warner Brothers, and it's so bare bones it doesn't even have a menu. It just kicks right into the movie, and then at the end you can watch. It's like a 20-minute documentary about Jesse James's life, like the real guy, and that's it. That's all that's on that Blu-ray. But the guy who runs a revival for this movie, he like shows it in like little theaters in like New York and Chicago and LA and stuff, and he gets Q&As at the end of it with the guy who wrote the book, Casey Affleck, and someone else. It might have been the director, I guess, Andrew Dominik. I can't remember, but he gets them to come do Q&As for this cult classic now movie, and people go watch it. And he says, according to him, it was his idea to reach out to Criterion because someone said, hey, man, I know a guy at Criterion Collection. Do you want me to reach out and see if they want to talk to you and Andrew Dominik about releasing this movie? He said, yeah, that's a great idea. And he says the only thing he knows is they sent an email to some producer or like someone like lower than a producer, and they just didn't hear anything. So it wasn't so much that Criterion said, no, we don't want to do this. It's more like they contacted the wrong guy, apparently, and just never heard anything about it. So now in the boutique Blu-ray collectors, weirdos on Reddit, which I'm part of, people are pushing Criterion, please release the director's cut of this movie. I want it real bad. Please get a bunch of cool director's commentary, extra stuff on it. I think this movie deserves it. It's got that cult status. It's a well-made movie. I don't know. I want it real bad. Like I said, I like it a lot. And again, the first time I saw the movie, I was like, where's this going? I like this movie, but I'm not in love with it. And the second time I watched it, knowing what I was getting into, for some reason, I'm completely smitten with it. So I don't know, something about this movie. It's like the spell takes 2 castings or something.
No, I can see that though. So Zach had said the whole thing about being long, and I know I mentioned it too, but really it's almost like a uncommon version of that saying. Is most of the time a movie is going on and you're like in the middle of the movie or even later and you're like, okay, is this going to end yet? This movie has a unique thing of telling you what is going to happen at the end of the film.
The title is what's going to happen, yeah.
Yeah, there's a spoiler there, right? If you're watching a movie, and again, this is also based on truth, right?
And that's what I think makes the movie so much more interesting, is because Jesse James gets assassinated by the coward Robert Ford. You're like, okay, well, that's the end of this movie. And then some more stuff happens that I didn't know anything about, but that's all real. Right. Like, he really did star as himself in a stage play about how he killed the most famous person in the United States. He really did that. And I don't know how that screws you up, but I assume it does. And then he really did go to Colorado and own a bar where he was killed by some jerk-off weirdo who just came to kill him just to be famous. Right. That's fascinating to me because I know who Jesse James is, but I don't know much about Robert Ford at all. And that stuff was all really interesting. And apparently a lot of the stuff they cut filled out what Robert Ford did the 10 years before the movie actually ends. It's more like he's in Colorado and he's doing some stuff, and in the movie they just kind of use a narrative to be like, oh, he ended up regretting it, and something stupid a kid did and 10 years ago. But the cut footage like shows that organically.
Oh fuck! I want the director's cut now, because that's, if I had one criticism of the movie other than the minor things we picked up, it's that I want more of that, because I felt like they just gave you, again, a short paragraph or so to explain what happened. They show as brother killed himself, which I think is also a neat little thing, because again, you go all the way back to, and this maybe we're watching a second time pays off, but they have that whole, for lack of a better word, chilling dialogue there on that frozen lake, and the way that opens up is he's talking about suicide, and he talks about how he thought about it, but he's
talking to Charlie about suicide.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a whole at that point you think he's going to die anyway, but it's also foreshadowing for what's actually going to happen. Which is,
have you ever considered suicide? Well, no, of course not. My fate's always changed, or I found a different way to look at things. Flash forward 5, 6, 7, however many years, Charlie kills himself.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into some discussions here, because the way I know.
That's what we've been doing, but
let's get deep into theories, essentially, because we don't know what's going through the heads of these characters, and it seems like they're assuming in this movie and probably in the book. But how, he gets killed by Robert Ford, it almost seems like he's allowing Robert Ford to kill him.
Yeah, well, the movie makes it look that way for sure.
Yeah.
A curious thing about this, I've thought about this a lot since I watched the movie. And obviously, we don't know, we weren't there. But the reason we know as much about it as we do is because of that stage play that he performed 800 times. He says, this is exactly what happened. I shot him in the back of the head. He saw the newspaper, and he was straightening a picture of a horse, and I shot him in the back of the head, and he died. It could easily, Robert Ford and Charlie Ford could be liars. They could be making that whole thing up. Who knows for sure? I mean, his wife corroborates everything after she came in. He was dead. He'd been shot in the back of the head, whatever. But I tend to believe their story because it paints them in a horrible light. Like, if they wanted to lie, they'd say they killed him in a more heroic way. Like, he was like, I'm going to kill you right now. And they're like, oh, I got to defend myself. Bang. Or something like that. But the way the story's told, it makes Robert Ford look like a coward. It absolutely does. That song that Nick Cave is singing, by the way, that's a cameo by that composer. Nick Cave did the music for the movie, and he's also playing the guitar in that bar at the end. But the song he's singing is a popular song and poem from that time. That's a historically accurate song that he sings that people really were singing at the time. Like, people were all pretty unanimously like, Robert Ford's a dirtbag, he's a coward, I hate him, he killed Jesse James, he's like the Robin Hood of the United States. Oh my gosh. And I guess because of all of that, like, if they were going to lie, they would have done it. And so it sounds like everything that they said made sense. Now, why did he take his guns off and why did he turn his back on them? We don't know. But maybe he did want to be killed, because the stuff they say about he had a bad cough and he had something else wrong with him. Like, he was in pain all the time.
Yeah, I think there's like some subtle things you kind of learn about him. Like, when he beats the kid, I kind of feel like he probably got beat as a kid by like the father and stuff. So that like kind of like probably mirrored his life in some way.
Maybe.
And
I took that more of, sorry to cut you off, but like specific to that, I took that more of, he went too far. Like, it's more of he's done all these things. He's got all this blood on his hands. He's finally seeing the blood on his hands.
Well,
Like, it's-
I'd go a step beyond that. I think he's scared. That's why he's going beyond, because he knows that there's a reward out for him, and
Sure.
he thinks, rightfully in some cases, we never find out for sure, by the way, if Ed Miller really was plotting to capture and kill him. But he assumes that, and he goes to that guy's house and kills him, while they're riding horseback in the middle of the night. And then he tells, who's he tell? Charlie, I think. Tells him about it, and then he says, do you have a story you want to swap with me about how my cousin died?
Yeah.
But I think he's scared because he thinks all these people are coming for him now. This ring of people that he thought he could trust are now all enemies, including the Ford brothers, including the Millers, including Dick Little and everyone else. So
Right.
I think he's letting that fear get the better of him, and that's why he's beating the snot out of this kid. He's like, you've got to tell me the truth. I'm in danger. I need the truth. I need to know where this guy is so I can go kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kid got up, is like, fuck you, mister.
No, I mean, by the end of the movie, I think it's like, I would agree. I think it's just the two things. He's cornered, but also he is tired. Like, he's got all these things wrong. He knows his time is up, which I think is why the end of the movie kind of leads. He knows what they're there for. He knows, and he's accepted it, and that is just what it is. But yeah, I think the way that plays out, though, that they don't outright come and tell you anything. They give you just the subtle signs. Like, one time he's coughing pretty harshly. A couple other things of like how he like walks or stuff. They give some signs that he's got something chronically going on too. So
there is another side to all of that, though, that I didn't think about the first time I saw this movie, but I was thinking about it a lot this second time. And now it's kind of my prevailing personal theory about the movie. And I think that one of the themes in this movie is an unreliable narrator, because after he dies, they talk so much about the stage play that the Ford brothers put on. And like, is it a lie? Is it not? They're probably embellishing things. And Robert Ford said a bunch of stuff that may or may not have happened. But one of the very first things that happened in this movie is someone's talking about how great Jesse James is and the problems he had and the things he did. And he says he had a condition that made him blink too much. And it shows Brad Pitt in a field, and he doesn't blink once in that shot. There's no blinking in that shot whatsoever. And it is true. In real life, Jesse James did have a problem where he blinked too much, apparently. That's what that documentary on the Blu-ray told me.
yeah, granulated eyelids or something.
Yeah, he actually had that. But in that shot, he doesn't blink. And it's almost like the movie's contradicting itself in a single shot right at the beginning of the movie. And there's lots of little things like that throughout the movie as well. And in fact, Brad Pitt blinks like as seldomly as he can throughout his entire portrayal. I was thinking about it a little bit. He does blink. Like, it's not like he's inhuman or anything, but he blinks very little throughout the movie. And it's almost as if he just didn't care about portraying that accurately, but also it's more intimidating, and it's just a more appealing performance if he's not blinking constantly like a weirdo. But there's other little things. You remember when he visits them after Wood Height's been killed, and they're all really nervous. I think it's Charlie. I can't remember, but they're like, "Oh, tell him about when you were a kid, all the stuff you have is similar." And they're talking about the number of letters in the name, and they're both the youngest of some brothers, and all this other stuff. And he says, "We're both 5'8". We both have blue eyes." Fair enough. Like, Casey Affleck actually has blue eyes in real life. I looked it up. But at the end of the movie, when he's in Colorado and he's talking to Zooey Deschanel about how he regrets it, his eyes are green. Like, they're very clearly green. And I thought, like, were they being lazy? Did they forget to make his eyes blue? That's why I looked it up. Casey Affleck's eyes are naturally blue. So they would have had to do something on purpose in that scene to make them green.
So
why? Why would they do that if not to like punctuate like he lied about his eyes being blue, or he misremembered about something, or he told the story wrong because it was more dramatic? And if that's true, if he's unreliable, then what else did he lie about?
Oh,
Because
that's
the whole
such a
story
good
is
little
from his point of
detail.
view. He's recounting what happened.
Right,
So did he misremember? Did he embellish? Did he lie?
Yeah, I didn't pick that up. That's actually really neat, because again,
Yeah.
as he's doing it, he's actively giving information that either has to be taken at value or he is lying. So at the same time that you have that clue,
for several of these things, he was the only one who's still alive who can say what happened.
Yeah.
Or Charlie in some instances. Like they're the only ones who can say, "Well, this is what happened." You were the only person there who's still alive now. So we're just gonna have to take your word for it.
So I wonder if it's kind of like this argument, and when I bring this up, I'm not like trying to like start a debate, but I'm just doing saying what atheists do. So like when atheists usually talk about the Bible, they talk about how like it's people saying the word of what happened, and it's playing like telephone, and eventually when it gets to the end, it's something different in some way. So I wonder if it's like this is people's knowledge of what they heard of how Robert Ford killed Jesse James, and like everything is different, everything is out of order or just not true. For example, like maybe we were getting Robert Ford's point of view until he got shot by that dude, and maybe that dude is talking about, the assassination plus how he shot Robert Ford. So like that could also be a thing as well.
Well, I guess it would really go back to the source material of, okay, we have the book this is based on, which I wonder then, okay, well, what information did that person have?
I guess it's a well-researched book. Historians tend to say, "Oh, this is a pretty good book about Jesse James. This is probably one of the best." But the author still wanted it to be entertaining and kind of fills in some blanks. He takes some liberties. Though it is interesting, and I don't know about this for sure, but this is what some trivia that I read said. It's interesting that Dubs said that about atheists and religion and stuff in the Bible, because a lot of the stuff leading up to Jesse James getting killed in this mirrors Christ's crucifixion in the Bible. He gives him the gun that kills him, and it's like framed in a way that's like Jesus giving bread to Judas, and he gets paid, and it's similar to Judas, whatever. But one of the last things he does before he kills him is he washes his hands, which you don't really see him do a lot in the movie, and they make a point to show him washing his hands, but that's what Pontius Pilate did before he crucified Jesus. And it's a whole list of interesting things. Like any of them by themselves is like, whatever. But when you see there's like 8 of them, it's like, oh, okay, maybe there's something here.
That's all. That is really interesting too, because then it's like there's these details that are added to further, I wouldn't say it's not a martyrdom, but further like sanctify his assassination, or glorify, I guess would be the word. And it's it's not just that it's being done by someone who betrays him, that's close to him, but it's also being done by someone who is also the person accounting what the events of what happened, and also happens to be obsessed or had been obsessed with this person, up to a certain point. So like, the way to look at that way, Bob Ford at one point looked at Jesse as Jesus. So it's just kind of funny that it's a further tie of obsession and resentment.
He's a Judas.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's what makes this story so. Like if just some bounty hunter or cop or some jerk off had shot Jesse James at a card game, let's say, it would not be as interesting of a story. But because there's all of this weird build up, it's a guy who was in his gang and he idolized him and he was obsessed with him, and he was kind of a weirdo. That's what makes it interesting.
It's funny that because like I watched a bunch of Billy the Kid, stuff, and he got shot in the back, and so did Jesse James get shot in the back. So it's like so funny that these outlaws get shot in the back like cowards.
Yeah, there's actually other foreshadowing,
right? Violence.
There's also foreshadowing to that too, which I kind of knew that was how it was going to happen.
Don't turn your back on him.
Yeah, never turn your back on Jesse, and
he does at one point. He gets a knife to his throat.
Right, and again, it's that unpredictability. But then it's just the irony of the way that he dies is when he accepts his fate, so to speak, decides to change that picture out. He turns his back to him. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a really good movie. I would want to see the director's cut, and more so, I just want to go watch the movie again at some point. Not like right away, but like soon. I want to watch it again.
Give it a year or something.
Yeah, I want to pick up on those details though, because there are so many subtle things that are there. There's one other thing I appreciate about this movie. It's gonna sound really dumb, But if I recall, there was not like an absurd, gross amount of nudity or anything in the movie, right?
Yeah, there was no nudity.
No,
Yeah,
there wasn't even a lot of violence. Like
no.
the studio told them, you need to put more action in this movie. You need to put more violence in here, and they were like, no, we're not going to do this. Honestly, a lot of the notes that the studio gave them is exactly what audiences hated about it when it came out. So for a moment, it kind of looked like, oh shit, they ruined this movie. The studio was right. Oh my god! But then as time has gone on, people have found and examined the movie like we are, and like, oh wait, no, this is actually.
I mean, maybe for success in theaters. Briefly, that would have worked, but then the longevity of what
we
how
wouldn't
this
be
movie
talking
would have
about
been
it now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, what does this movie do? And it's more blood and boobies. It's like, well, okay, I'm not saying that those things are wrong, but like, there's a balance, and you're taking away from something that is, especially if it's factual, right? Or we have to perceive it as much fact as possible. Like, these are real things that happen, so it's really cool to see it portrayed that way, and they're not adding a bunch of excess. It's nonsensical.
Yeah. I mean, it is cool that there's a train robbery at the beginning. That's a great way to start. It's a good way to get you hooked a little bit. Because if it started immediately with like them horsing around and like going to Kentucky and doing whatever, who cares? That'd be no good. But the train robbery is like one of the most compelling scenes in the movie. It also has one of my favorite shots when they all put the lanterns out and go out in the woods.
Oh, and he's just
Jesse James
there?
is standing up on the barricade, and it shows the side
really
of his
cool.
face, and then it zooms past, and the screen is completely black, and you can hear the train, and then you see the train. Oh, it's one of the coolest shots in like
it is
any
very
movie.
cool.
I love it.
Yeah, no, there's so much about what they do with the movie, and I really appreciate them sticking to their guns on certain things. I mean, again, unfortunately, it's death as far as how successful it was. It's a massive failure, but again, like you said, we wouldn't be talking about the movie if it had done the thing to appeal to general audiences.
I think I still think this movie's due more of a push because, like I said, people are petitioning Criterion or whoever to release that collector's edition, and the director's are into it. He says, "Yeah, I'll authorize the director's cut. We'll put that out. I got a bunch of cut scenes that we can put on it." He's ready for it. And in interviews since, as recently as I think 2015, maybe, Brad Pitt has said in interviews, this is his favorite role. He said it more than once. He said it was his favorite role, and he said it's one of his favorite roles a couple times when people have asked him that question. And Roger Deakins, who again is like one of the most famous cinematographers working in Hollywood today, has said that shot that I described of the train is he thinks it's the best shot that he's ever put in a movie. So a lot of the people who worked on this movie are still excited about, more people need to see this movie. We worked really hard and we think it's really good, but people aren't seeing this movie.
Yeah, I kind of want the director to do the whole going to the local video store and like have their own like version of it.
That'd be cool.
I would actually, if it's within reason, I'd probably travel to go get it or something like that. Two things I want to bring up. Sam Rockwell's character, when he kills himself, do you think he kills himself because like they murdered a friend and didn't become this like popular figure?
Yeah.
And
I think he regrets everything. Like he was scared for his life, sure, but he doesn't like the way that everything happened. And I think reliving it every night is probably not a very good way to keep your mental health up.
I think that, again, we've talked about it before, not everyone in this movie is super intelligent, right? But they really drive home, Charlie is a simpleton. So you take someone who could easily live through life with no regrets for the most part and not make too many horrible decisions, but the one thing is he's true to his friends. Like he even tries to talk his brother out of it at multiple points. Like even knowing this is a person that would just kill them anyway, not even just out of fear, but like, it's not the right dude. He's a friend. He's a partner. Like, so yeah, I think the betrayal ate at him. And then exactly like reenacting that. And it's the equivalent of, Troy taking Hector and dragging him around the arena to brag about it. Right. Like that's what he's doing. And all these people around them hate them because they're nationally despised as cowards. And they're making money off of it. So yeah, I think that ate at him. And
not only is he reliving it every night, but he plays Jesse. Come to think of it,
yeah, he has to be Jesse. They mention that's why I would love to see.
Oh yeah, and they say he got real into like soothsayers and weird stuff, and then he started acting more like Jesse, like mysteriously out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot more there that we're not seeing.
Exactly, there's a gap there. I would love to see what they had to tie in to know, because there's probably like stuff they could tie in, that like dialogues and arguments between the two brothers, because there's got to be some resentment that's there.
Yeah. I mean, that
Yeah.
could be a movie. I almost watched. It's still sitting out. I might still try to watch it and talk about it next week. There is a movie just about Robert and Charlie Ford after they've killed Jesse James. It was made by Samuel Fuller, who is a director I really like. But apparently, it's just all horseshit. Like, it's all fictional, like nonsense that they pretty much made up after the fact. Like, knowing that they did the stage play, and then they kind of just built off of that. But I don't know. I own it. It's in a box set with some of Samuel Fuller's other stuff, and I've been meaning to watch it. It's just called I Shot Jesse James is the name of the movie.
I mean, it's just an interesting thing to think of anyway. I mean, again, I know this is the 1880s, but the fact that you have a person who kills, who is effectively the most popular person in the country,
Yes.
or the most famous person in the country, and again is not only is not punished for it, but as far as the government's concerned, they pardon him. Like, he's let to go on and retell it in theaters.
He was. It's interesting. He was. They did find him guilty of murder, but the governor pardoned him the same day. Like, he still had to go through a trial. And also, interestingly, there was all that reward money, $10,000, which at the time was a ludicrous amount of money. The sheriff and a marshal and like a prosecutor or something got most of that money. He did not get very much of that money.
Ugh.
So he got stiffed out of most of it, and Charlie got like nothing.
Yeah, which is what I imagine what led them to go and start doing playwrights to make money off of what they did, because at that point you got to own
He
it.
always wanted to be famous, and that like he ends up being more recognizable than the president or whatever. But that's another interesting theme of this movie is he and Jesse were so much alike, and yet they were completely different.
Yeah, because he's craving that, he's doing things for the wrong reasons, and also the fates, like what ends up happening. Like, they talk about how he dies, nobody knows about it. Like, this movie is like the first time a lot of people would even know that, but the people know who Jesse James was. They at least recognize the name. I mean,
probably thanks to those. Probably thanks to those pulp comics that they made of him. Probably.
Well, and those lithographs were like the most sold thing in the United States after he died. His body in front of all the guys in suits, and then his body in the ice.
Yeah. I've seen that picture before. I was like, I've seen that. I did the
I've seen it too. Like, that's the thing. And here it is in the 2020s, and I'm still like, I've seen that before too.
Yeah.
One last thing, because we were talking about unreliable narrator and stuff, and I was like wondering who was the narrator in this movie, and he was an editor for the movie. Hugh Ross is the guy's name, and I was like,
oh yeah, I wondered that too. I'm glad you looked it up.
Yeah, and I was like, it's so funny that like the composer, the music guy, was the guy doing the guitar, and then the narrator is the editor. It's like so grassroots, this fucking project. It seemed like.
Yeah, I think most of the people working on it really believed in it. They're like, "Oh, this movie's great, and we're gonna put our heart and soul into it." And then it made $3 million domestically, and they're like, gee whiz, shucks."
Yeah, with all those star peoples in there, and it only made $3 million. They didn't even fucking like make their budget, probably.
I don't think so.
But I recommend this movie, even though it's like long. I actually want more. Because I feel like I agree with Chaz. There's some things that are missing that I would really like to know.
There literally is things missing, according to Andrew Dominik.
Yeah. Well, I want it.
Me too. But yeah, I of course recommend this as well. Like, I was excited to pick it. And like I said, the first time I watched it, I was like, I like this movie a lot. I'm going to tell people to watch it. Now that I've seen it a second time, I picked up all this other stuff, and it's top, I don't know, at least 20, maybe top 10. Like, for me, I love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Agree. Strongly recommend. It's a great movie.
Zach, what about you?
Yeah, I recommend it, I guess. I was talking to some other people about it after I watched it. Like, yeah, it was actually pretty cool. I'd never heard of it before or anything, but yeah, give it a watch. I recommend it.
Has anyone ever met anyone who's seen this movie?
No, besides you, Andy.
Well, yeah.
No.
Besides
I have.
us. Okay, well there you go. At least Zach has met someone who's seen it.
Until AI brought this movie up, I did not know this movie existed.
I was aware of it because of the ridiculous title, and I might have been working at an FYE when it came out. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but that might have helped me just be aware of it. But that was it. It was just, I thought it was that boring Western with Brad Pitt in it. I was half right.
So the question is, what's the next movie we're gonna watch? Now we don't know if we're gonna have a double feature or not, so we're gonna name both of our movies.
I hope not.
Yeah, which is Zach is gonna choose Heat, right? Correct.
That's right.
And I chose Children of Men. I can't remember his name. If anything, if we're gonna do like one at a time, I'm next with Children of Men, and then Zach will be the finale with Heat, which I think would be great. If
the way the weather's going, we should watch Heat right now. Yuck, yuck.
But yeah, watch both of those movies, and we may have a double feature next week.
Watch them just because they're both great movies.
That's it.
Watch them back to back.
Anyway, now we get to talk about post-credit scene. Well, we've been playing stuff. Dubs, you go first.
Okay. I'm going to quickly say it because we have a whole show that we're going to be talking about it, but I beat Ocarina of Time.
Woo! He did it! He did it!
Now, the question, which will be answered on that recorded thing we're going to do, is what do I like better? Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time? Wait until that show for
He's going to say Link to the Past, and he's going to be wrong.
Maybe.
We're not going to talk about that. We've got since you all four of you finished it now, so
yeah, that's going to be on mine too. I beat it as well.
Yeah, we're going to talk. We'll talk off recording about how we'll lay it out.
Don't tease the audience like that.
Oh no, I'm teasing them. But we're going to talk about we're going to compare this game to another game in contention for the best of its generation. And
Revenge.
Yeah, obviously. Bubsy 3D.
The Assassination of Jesse James by Coward Robert Ford on Commodore 64.
Yeah.
Commodore 64.
I like the television port better.
But I think that it'll be a good discussion. I think at the end of the day, the Zelda thing is just so played out on what's your favorite, because that is also a combination of, well, objectively, what games do you like, or subjectively, what games do you prefer more?
What Zelda did you play first? What Zelda was popular when you were 12? That's the question.
Right. Because there's going to be a lot of nostalgia, but I think there are some arguments for what games also hold up. Because I have a weird ranking of Zelda games. That could be its own completely separate episode of going and ranking.
Faces of Evil.
You just going
Zelda
immediately
one, I forget the name of.
to the all the what are the 3DO or whatever?
Philips CDI.
Philips CDI. That's it. Yeah, Philips CDI. Oh man.
I love myself some Majorca mask.
Oh, games.
We're doing it. We're going down the Zelda trail.
That's the big titty goth girl of Zelda games, but we don't have to go there. Anyway, continue with what other things you've done, bud.
I played Mario Kart World Tour. Essentially, I guess beat the World Tour.
I played that too.
Yeah, and played the knockout game. I like the knockout game more.
Knockout's so fun.
Yeah, no, that I agree. Like if I'm just doing one thing, it's knockout every time.
So here's what I've done. We're all talking about because we've all been playing it, except for you, Zach, you loser. Or wait, have you been playing it?
Playing what?
Mario Kart World? No, he hasn't been playing it. You can tell.
No, I don't have a fucking Switch 2. I don't want one.
He's a cool guy. Too busy getting laid.
Yeah, he's too busy. Anyway,
There's nothing I want for it.
What I've done is, if I'm gonna play through the Grand Prix stuff, I'm just playing with Evie, because we can't do knockout together. Because most of the reason she finishes so high is that she's way behind, and then rubber bands the fuck out of the game, and then finishes somewhere between like 4th and 12th. But if we played knockout, she would get eliminated, and then she had to sit there. And that happened once, and get a 6-year-old who has undiagnosed ADHD sitting around in a room full of a bunch of shit that she shouldn't touch while you're trying to play a racing game. Not a good time. So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna stick to the other. But when I'm playing by myself, 100%, I'm doing knockout. The knockout is so fun.
Agree.
Yeah, I haven't tried online yet. I'm not like, I really don't want to play online.
I don't care. I'll play with friends. I'll play with you guys, but I'm not playing with strangers. What? I'm too old for that shit.
Yep, same. I'd play with you guys, but I guess they like jacked it up. Like there was a way that people were figuring out how to connect and play with their friends, and then they did an update, and it really screwed all the online stuff up. So people were bitching about it a few weeks ago. I have not even tried it yet.
Nintendo to not know how to do online.
That's what I was saying.
What I heard is like in the last Mario Kart game, I don't know what number it is, but like
8.
They had a race where you had like 3 laps, and it was like quicker than what it is now, because like now there's like 4 different maps that you go through in a Grand Prix, and it just seems longer or something. But they found a way to like shorten that, and Nintendo's like, nah, you guys ain't shortening this, so we're gonna update it, and now it's harder to get that style of racing.
I was hoping, and I know this doesn't exist, and they probably won't add it, but I was really hoping for a Forza Horizon style like free roam, where you can just be in the map and your friends can be there as well, and you can.
I was a little disappointed in that.
Co-op, question block challenge, or P block challenges, or something like that. Like that would have been cool.
Yeah.
I tried the free roam, and there is like some mini games in there that you can do, but at the same time, it just feels like so empty.
It's not engaging, but I like it. Like if I'm watching a show or something, I'll horse around in free mode for sure.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I like looked around. I was like, oh, this is interesting, but like it kind of feels empty, like the Breath of the Wild when it first came out. Where we're just like,
it's the best way to grind getting alternate costumes though too.
True.
I didn't know that. That's what I need to do, because I've just been doing them by nature of getting them in races. And you can only get so many that way, I think. Yeah. I think you have to do the other things to get all the costumes. So
no, I was one of the first things I did was I did free roam as Wario, and I got all but one of his costumes in like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I got Biker Bowser, which is funny to see. But after Mario Kart, I decided to get some wholesome movies in, like RoboCop 1 through 3, and I watched that.
One of those was worth your time.
So I love RoboCop. I love every like 80s, 90s like action film. So I watched that, and I also watched Alien because I was in
that's
the movie.
70s though.
Yeah, I know. And then I also watched Aliens because I had to have the Bill Paxton game over, man, game over. So I had to watch that, and then I tried to play the Alien game where you have to run and hide and shit.
Alien Isolation.
And I almost shit my pants because I had these. I had my gamer headphones on, so it's surround sound in my ears, and the alien and even the androids like fuck with you, and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm gonna have a heart attack. And I'm like real good with like scary games, but just like not knowing there's no patterns, there's no path when you're trying to hide. It's like literally it's almost like luck. It's like, oh, he's in that corridor, I gotta fucking move. And he'll vent like fucking Among Us out of nowhere and like come from the other side. I'm like, God damn it, and now I gotta hide again. And then I also tried the Alien shooter game. It's like a co-op. So there's still people that like play that game. Not very much. And it's like Left 4 Dead, but just aliens. And I had fun for a while until I got matched with like these douchebags that had mics on and kept on like yelling at me to do things. And I got on a mic and I just put my mic down my throat and just started screaming it into it until they left. So
they tried to work together as a team, and you harassed them.
Well, no, I was exploring, and I guess they were speed running this motherfucker. And like, I was like, I want to look around and like see the map and stuff, and see what I could level up and all that crap. you're like, fucking move, let's go. The fuck are you doing? And I'm like, and I just put my mic in my mouth. I was like, whoa, and then just kept on screaming until they left. It's like, bro, like, let me enjoy the game. I get it. You guys are fucking professionals. It's the same thing with like when I play Valorant or fucking League of Legends, and all you see people is typing some stupid ass messages.
Yeah, but I gotta ask them. Couldn't you have just muted them?
I could have, but I also wanted them to like be miserable.
But you were the troll. That's my point. Is like they were trying to play a game that involves teamwork, and you're like, I don't want to do that. I want to do my own thing. So I'm just like thrown off by that. So
I pay $60 for this game. I do what I want.
I did hear about a guy a few days ago. I can't remember. I was at a card shop and someone was talking about a buddy that he was like the biggest troll in COD, and that was what he would do regularly. Is he'd get in lobbies and he'd be like, "Oh, hold on a sec, I gotta fix my mic," and then he and like, I think my mic's broke, and he would just keep doing it to piss people off. It's really funny.
Well, if you ever play Counter-Strike 2 these days, like, if you're a streamer, you gotta fucking make sure you mute everybody, because like out of nowhere, like, there was people playing Hitler's fucking speeches. There was they were dropping like N-bombs and stuff. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like,
I mean, I get it. If you found out that someone on your team was streaming, wouldn't you fuck with them? Like, usually I don't condone that kind of behavior, but that's funny. I don't care.
It is kind of funny.
Usually I like when someone tries to, like, you know, corral the team into teamwork. That's fun. That's fun online experiences. But someone's live streaming, that's too funny. I'm gonna mess with them a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I did that, and then also some YouTube recommendations I want to point out. I actually forgot. I say recommendations, and I don't even know the fucking channel. But I've been watching a bunch of like WWE rivals. That's why I did that random question out of nowhere, and are getting some color chat. I was like, "What's your top 3 rivals?" And it was going through HBK versus Bret Hart. We were watching The Rock and Hogan and stuff. And I was like, what do I like really? And the top 3 that I chose was HBK versus Bret Hart, because it was real in some way. And it's just interesting, like, what led up to that. Like, if you look from Stone Cold and Bret Hart all the way to SummerSlam 97, it's like really interesting on his heel turn and all that stuff. So I have that. I have Stone Cold versus The Rock, because that rival is really good. And then what did I put for the other one, Zach? Let me go look.
I don't remember it off the top of my head now.
I got it.
Goldberg versus Korn.
HBK versus Taker, the one where it led up to HBK's retirement match, which I thought was a really good feud. But yeah, I watched that stuff, and it's just interesting. You know, the rivals, what you know, kayfabe and not kayfabe. And there was the Stop Killing Games thing I want to bring up. So, Stop Killing Games, the movement is to preserve games. So, like when you buy a game, essentially the publisher has to have an end game to it. They can't just be like, here's a game, and because it's a license, we can pretty much shut the game down whenever we want. This is just preserving that the consumer has the right to the game. And I guess they're gonna eventually it's gonna have to be in the TOS of like, this is a property of the consumer, and if you're gonna bring out this product, if there's a multiplayer, you have to put in a server or give the source code to fans, and they make their own server to keep the game alive, essentially.
That seems reasonable. The second part of this.
And this YouTuber / creator, Pirates Software Studios or whatever, he has a game called Heartbound and all that stuff. But he was like so against it, and like it was weird seeing it. Like he was saying misinformation on what the movement was about. He was just saying just stupid shit. He's like, "Oh, you're giving government control," which essentially is false, because it's using the government as a weapon to pretty much tell this publisher, hey, this is fucked up consumer rights in some way. Even though, yes, we're buying the game and we're when we start the game and you have to hit that acknowledgement and stuff. Yes, legally they are, the winners if it comes down to a legal battle, and that's why they're trying to change that so they can't go around. Well, you accepted the terms and it's a license, but this pirate software guy kept on saying like, "Oh, this is gonna be bad. It's gonna ruin independent creators that want to just do live service games." And I just kept in my brain. I'm like, good. If this prevents people from doing live service games, I'm all for this. If you don't have a roadmap and content for this game, then no, like fuck you. But if you do have all that content and stuff like Fortnite, look at Fortnite. There's always content happening, and there's always multiple shits going, multiple different type of game types in the game.
Well, that's easy to maintain when you're the most popular game on the planet.
Yeah,
What?
I mean,
But if you're the new guy on the block, you got to have a plan. That's what you're saying.
yeah.
Essentially,
Essentially,
independent creators make live service games. It's
Yeah.
almost to a point where you can't, unless you have a lot of money to start with, or you just get fucking lucky
Yeah.
making a live service game. That's not really a good point.
well, there's a theory going around that Pirate Softwares was making a live service game, and that essentially this would kind of fuck with him. So essentially, he was being selfish and like trying to stop this movement from happening.
I did wonder, like, what dog he had in this fight. I thought it was really weird that he evolved, because I've seen like clips of him. I've never been a fan of the guy, but I know who he is. I thought it was weird that he decided he was going to be the antagonist to this movement. It's so weird.
Well,
It's
he used to work for
strange.
Blizzard, which is funny because Blizzard.
Yeah, he's
doesn't-
mentioned it in clips I've seen of him.
Yeah. I just think there's either two options. Either he's really fucking stupid and just didn't know what the movement was about, and he didn't want to look stupid in front of all his fans and the internet. So he doubles down and just keeps on saying this is a bad movement. Or he's maliciously doing it so that it benefits him and, AAA studios. People think he's an industry plant, essentially, is what they're trying to say.
It's a real shame that we don't have other parallels to this and other forms of our capitalistic market. But I guess gaming will have to be the backbone example, right?
I guess, yeah.
As our sarcasm.
Yeah, I know. I felt
Healthcare.
I felt the sarcasm.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with you. Like, if live service games go away, that's great. And I mean, at the same time, it kind of goes back to, I mean, maybe not even necessarily live service games, but think about how many there have been games in the recent years that have come out that there was a colossal amount of money and time put into. They bomb, and then within months, the publisher pulls the plug on the game.
Concord.
Yeah, Concord being the big example, right? Like that's the one that really like sticks out. Yeah. So, but it's not the first, or it certainly wasn't the first one, or the last, and it wouldn't be the last unless something's done otherwise to change it. And I mean, it is unfortunate for so many fans because yeah, maybe it is a flop for X, Y, or Z, but if there are people that are buying it, like, I mean, there's something there, right? You got to provide the service, like that. Take your losses, right? But,
yeah. Initially, I also thought something wrong with the movement because I thought what was happening was they were going to preserve all the games, and then like I would be like, "Holy shit, I get to play old games and stuff." Like that would be pretty cool to do. But no, it's from here on out, whatever gets made, and I think the main game that they put on that movement was Ubisoft's the Club or whatever.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I remember this.
Where they were just like, oh, people, there was a following for that, and they just pulled the plug, and they just said, you bought a license, fuck you. And essentially that's correct. Yeah, we did do the acknowledgement, that little thing that you have to scroll in every game that you play now is essentially saying you agree that you're borrowing this license and stuff.
Yeah, it's up to the intellectual property rights holder to they can at any time discontinue service and blah blah blah.
And that's a conversation we've had for a long time too. Maybe not necessarily for opening those properties, as far as live service model, but even just digital versus physical. Like think about how many games you could digitally get, but then they're no longer available, it's kind of the same thing, but maybe a little slightly different. But,
At least with that, the solution is to pirate them. But with this,
right.
this
The games are
you
killed.
can't.
Right.
It's possible. There's no server. It just doesn't. It's not there anymore.
Exactly. So it is different, but yeah, we definitely should be trying to preserve these things, especially if there are fans for them. I mean, and again, it kind of goes back to the same cycle of, these companies, are they putting the right efforts and right time frames on things? If they're given the ability to have the right amount of time and money to make the product to be successful, then they don't have this problem. But again, I guess it's a whole different issue.
I had been confused at first because I thought people were saying they should keep the servers open for games forever, and that's impossible. That'll never happen. That's ridiculous. Like, companies can't maintain servers for every single game they've ever released. That doesn't make any sense financially or logistically. But then you said the thing about releasing the capability for fans to run servers. That makes perfect sense. They should be doing that now. That makes sense to me. Charge for it even. Who cares? Like, say, okay, you can buy the server SDK from Steam for $50 or something.
I mean, think about how many games are so successful because of the ability to allow people to run servers or run mods, and like games that open themselves out to let the community have freedom, like they succeed. But my goodness, it's half the reason that the Elder Scrolls games have been so successful.
Yeah, download a sexy vampire. Oh my god! Oh, I have a lair now
with horse armor.
Yeah, but the main thing about like the movement was the movement came out like this. I think this is like 3 years that they've been trying to do this, but essentially, Pirate Software came out with a video shitting on this movement, which killed the movement, and the organizer for the movement decided to make a YouTube video where he's like, I don't like drama, but he's the reason why our fucking movement died.
Huh.
And then out of nowhere, like I'm just gonna say the whole internet, like every creator decided to help out the movement and got it to 1 million signatures. And literally the Pirate Softwares is like, I'm happy people got what they got, but they're not going to get what they want. So he's still tripling, quadrupling down that this movement is bad. So whatever.
I mean, it's a petition. Let people sign it if that's what represents them.
I mean, and that's just one step, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's a petition. Nothing will come of it. There's still big companies. They're still going to do whatever makes them the most money. I mean, it's a nice feel-good success story for the community, but I don't see anything happening.
Yeah, the AAA games, like all they're gonna do is just in the terms of service, they're gonna legalese it and make it where like
legalese it. I love that term.
Yeah,
legalese is a verb.
Yeah, like they're gonna word it so that like you actually do know it's a rental essentially, and they're just not gonna care.
Clarified.
Yeah, but yeah, that's all I've done.
$70 rentals. What the fuck? Gotta love it.
At least you get to keep it longer than the weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
To be clear, I'm not justifying Nintendo's decision. It's a scumbag move, and I hate them.
Yeah.
Let me go buy a Nintendo Switch 2 game. I'll be right back. No. All right, I'm done talking.
Nothing else? You didn't watch or play anything else?
That's it.
I'm sorry, you cut out there. You want Zach or me?
Chaz,
okay. You I don't know what happened. It didn't mute quite, but it's almost like you were like in a fishbowl. Like
it's Nintendo, they're coming for me now.
Yeah, they're like, mute him. Okay. I got quite a bit of stuff. We'll start with what I watched first. 'Cause I haven't watched a whole lot, but I did watch something. Wish I could say I went and watched F1. I didn't. I watched Elio.
Oh wow, failure movie.
Yeah, failure movie. Which really sucks that it's a failure movie because this movie is really good. I actually really enjoyed it. It had a ton of heart. Imagine if they made Contact, but it had like all the beats that you would want in a Pixar film. It was like Finding Nemo, Toy Story, and Contact were made in a movie together. I don't know. It's a weird way to describe it, but like it was a really good movie. It had a lot of heart, and it touched on a lot of salient points, not just on like child that lost his parents, but also about us being alone and trying to find contact out there. I thought it was actually a really great movie. Yes, there was a lot of emotional diarrhea. It was good. I really liked it. I would highly recommend it. as far as movies that have come out this year, it's probably the best movie I've watched this year. Which isn't saying a lot. I haven't watched a ton of movies from this year, but it's been good. So,
I didn't know it existed until I went to the theater to see F1, and I saw the cardboard standee of it. I was like, oh, there is a new Pixar movie. Because I had overheard, I told Zach the story, but I had overheard someone saying they wanted to go see that new Pixar movie. And I thought, there's not a new Pixar movie in theaters, you idiot. It's probably some kid's movie from DreamWorks or something. They just use that as an umbrella term for animated kids movie now. And then I went to the theater, and there it was. There was a Pixar movie. I was like, what the hell?
It could have been me, because we were talking the day before you guys went to see F1. We were at the cookout, and I'd brought up, I'm pretty sure I brought up going to see this movie. I knew we were going to watch it because I've got a kid. Like, that's just how that works.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have necessarily gone out of my way to watch it then, but I'm glad I did, because I didn't know what expectation to have for the movie, and it was really good. I would not just recommend, take your kid to see it. As a parent, it's different. And yeah, it has some beats that are like that, but anyone can click this. Like, I actually watched it. When I was done, I was like, fuck, Dubs needs to watch this movie. Like, because you love Contact. Like, I think you'd really like this movie. Anyway, yeah, it was pretty good, though. I haven't watched much else.
Zach, did you have something to say about Elio?
Oh, yeah, chip in.
Oh, yeah, it's like this phenomenon that nobody knows that it's out, apparently. It's not just you. It's a lot of people. I saw a
video yesterday or the day before from a content creator who focuses on animated stuff, and he was talking about how Disney has kind of stepped away from it. They spent very little on the marketing and promotion for it, and now they've just stopped out of nowhere. And
yeah,
it's because they think the movie sucks, maybe, and now they just kind of want to look to the future. They want to look at Toy Story 5.
I don't think it's that. So this movie came out in the same window as Lilo and Stitch, and also came out the same time as the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. So it came out in a bad window of children's movies, so to speak. And the Lilo and Stitch movie wasn't supposed to come out then. Lilo and Stitch was actually supposed to come out months later, and the scheduling to get it out was rushed because How to Train Your Dragon was announced. So it got caught in this weird window of these two bigger movies that both studios thought would do really well. Like they put all their eggs in the basket for it. And I knew that Elio existed because I've seen enough kids movies this past year that I went and watched, and it's been a preview, but not like anything crazy. Like, you won't see anything on television about it, right? Or other advertising.
That's the
very
thing.
Limited.
I'm always aware of these movies just from YouTube ads or banner ads or a McDonald's tie-in. There's not even toys for this movie, as far as I can tell.
They did nothing because they went all in on the Lilo and Stitch. Because Lilo and Stitch is still in theaters. And here's what's funny. The weekend that Elio comes out, it has one of the worst box office weekends that any of those movies have had. And at the theater locally, for instance, they're showing in one theater, they're showing that this movie 4 times in that day. The same day, Lilo and Stitch, which has already been out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's on its end legs, was in 2 different theaters and had 9 different time slots. It's just a matter of, this is the mass demand we're expecting, so they're skipping over it. But it really sucks because this movie was, in my opinion, was so much better than the Lilo and Stitch movie. And yeah, I would recommend it to those who want to see it. But yeah, it's I guess thematic. It's going to be a bomb that people are going to probably love later. Because it is a good movie. It's got a lot of heart. But anyway, anything else on that? Zach, do you have anything to say about it?
No, other than somebody from Pixar made some kind of social media post basically crying about don't say where's all the original ideas if you don't go see the movies. And it's I don't know that that's totally on the audience in this case. It doesn't seem
the marketing wasn't there. That's their fault.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is their fault as far as not marketing what they had. But as far as something being original and good, it is. It's a good take. It's just you got to market those things. If people don't know about them,
your parent
it'll hit Disney Plus in a month, and maybe people will like it.
Sorry, buddy, your parent company fucking shot it in the knee.
So apparently,
you work for Disney, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, Elemental had a similar thing. This actually, now became the bigger flop. But that movie also flopped pretty hard in theaters, but then came out and was adored. Like there's all kinds of stuff later on about it, and you can find stuff at Disney for it and everything. But he's just chugging the Gatorade. Oh, he's frozen. Oh, I thought he was actually chugging it. I was like, man, he's not even swallowing. What a tank.
I was trying to laugh silently.
No, it's good. It's good. Oh, that's too great. Well, I'll move on. He won't mind that I move on to cardboard while he's zapped out.
That Gatorade is so thirsty.
I'm saving my gaming for the end. So played some Pokemon. I'm now one of the cardboard warrior judges that runs events online, and I ran my first tournament recently, and it went well. And yeah, that was pretty cool. I also played in another tournament and got third place, which was neat. I did bad in the tournament I ran, by the way. I played something just roguish and fun because it's like I'm more focused on organizing and making sure this event goes smoothly. So I bombed, which is fine. I was totally happy with that because the event went well. But yeah, then I went to a local that actually decided to have a GLC event. They're going to try to do them like every month, which is kind of cool, and in Athens. And yeah, I went there and got third place. And I guess I say third, but like it was just on tiebreakers. Like at the end, we all had the same record, but just one person just we tied for first. So
closer to the home.
Yeah. So anyway, so did that. I played like a couple games of Lorcana with a friend while we were waiting to do this other thing that I'm going to bring up soon, and it's fine, but whatever. I don't know how I feel about that game anymore. But I have a new game. There's a new card game. It's coming.
Uh-oh.
There's a new card game, and I think it's going to be the real deal.
It's called Magic the Gathering. It's brand new.
Oh boy! So Riot Games, famous for making League of Legends, is making a physical card game called Riftbound. It will be releasing September, if I remember correctly.
It's gonna have all the characters from their Netflix show in it or something.
I mean, it'll likely have that. I mean, if you're familiar at all with League of Legends IP, which I used to play pretty competitively, goodness, 15 years ago, but League of Legends is a champion-based arena fighter. There's like 200 champions. They obviously can have that. They by far have their most popular champions that people recognize through with lore and what they put in other forms of gaming they've had or other media, such as the Netflix show. So yes, that's what they're going to focus on. But so the game, at upcoming conventions, I think Gen Con's the next big one that they're going to do. You're going to be able to try the game. They're going to have the sample starter decks out for the public to try, which is great. But I guess I'm one of the cool kids. I've already played the game. Know a guy who knows a guy, and there was like a select number of people that were brought exclusively to Vegas to try the game out, and were given the sample decks and told to try and play with their other players. And so last week I actually got to go and hang out with some people who have access to the stuff, and I got to play the sample decks. And most of this came out of the fact that I was skeptical of whether I would play this game or not. A little bit that's been leaked out about it, and the reveals make it seem like it's overly complicated, and this isn't going to do anything. No, it's the real deal. The game's fucking fun. I might sell out of my other stuff and just jump to it because I don't know if I can play more than one card game anyway. And I mean, Pokemon's not going anywhere. I've tried to play 3. I can't. It's hard to do 3.
I got a question though. Like, how do you know? Besides, like the actual game being fun, how do you know it's going to be the real deal? Because there have been some like games, like tabletop games or deck games that are fun, but it never just catches. Now,
I mean, at least it has a recognizable IP.
I'm glad you said that. So here's where we're at. So within the last week or so, Lorcana finally had their World Championships. They got delayed. So now Lorcana had the backing of, we're going to come out as this collectible card game. We have an IP that's crazily widely known that people are going to collect, and that's going to help bring a casual audience to play. But the scene for League of Legends is one of the pillars and backbones that created the ongoing gaming content stream, right? Like Dota and League are like the early pillars, along with other shooters that help build what Twitch has become, right? So LCS is insane. The amount of money they put in to pay out for those seasons to happen, it's crazy. The game's not even out yet. They already have their entire 1 year plus roadmap for what they're going to do for championship seasons. Like completely out. Nationals, Worlds, everything. It's already all laid out. They are miles ahead in terms of how they have their organized play set up, and how they're going to involve stores to do so, which has excited a lot of people because, again, Lorcana was great because the game was great. I say is. The game, the fundamental of the game is great, but as far as organizing competitive play and actually bringing people to, they have no idea what they're doing, and their communication is really rough. Like, we still don't know. They decided to completely upend the previous competitive season. They're changing the entire structure to the next one, which is supposed to happen in a few months. And there are all these what if questions logistically about how they're going to do it. And I don't even know if I want to try, because I don't want to go play in an event where I wake up at 8 and I play until midnight and then have to do the exact same thing again the next day.
Is that the Le
just to make
Mans of
money.
fucking trading cards?
Might be like so for reference, like I've played a lot of these different games where I've went to events and I wake up at 8 or 9 and I play until 9. But the second day, the whole point to play that day is to grind it, and then second day you've made a point where you're either going to A, make some money back, or B, you only play a few more rounds till you make it to that top cut, and it's it. The way they've pronounced it now is they're going to have effectively 2 full days of play. Like, if you were to make it in order to be the champion, you'd have to play out the eight or 9 rounds the first day, and you're going to have to play another 8 or 9 rounds. And they're not cutting off who gets to go to the second day. So old Joe Schmo that literally didn't win a game on day 1 could go and play the remaining 4 rounds of the regular Swiss rounds on day 2. And if that person has no idea what they're doing and they tie up the round there's nothing anyone can do about it. Like, there's actually a lot of logistical stuff they've not taken into account that's going to make it.
That sounds terrible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's absolutely going to be terrible. So I don't have a local scene for Lorcana. The competitive part of it is not seeming great. There's a lot of reasons why I'm already thinking anyway I've taken a break from it, but it's like I can't juggle 3. I don't want to juggle 3. It's too much. So I'm looking. I'm going to wait and see.
Yeah.
But I could see if Earthbound works out the way I think it will. That the other thing is,
how's the art?
our arts are good. Like, they're nothing crazy. They have a ton of alternate arts cards. Like, I think the first set's like 300 cards, and like an additional 80 cards are full arts. Every rare card is holo foil, so there's none of that BS where you get a rare card that doesn't have holo on it. Like, they're all holo foil. And they're doing a ton of fan service, like full arts and stuff, which is cool. So like in that game, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the game. You pick a champion, but within that champion, you have their live service model. Like, there's like 10 different skins you can have for that person, right? So you can have one guy who is an intergalactic space king theme or something nonsense, and like he has a ridiculous looking costume. So that's how they're doing their full art rares. Like, the full art rares are their alternate costumes, which is kind of cool. So, but yeah, the gameplay's great. There's a lot of different strategies on how to play it. There's way more flexibility and strategy in the game on how you play. Way less variance, in my opinion, from the games I've played already, which I like. Which really means, like, the person who knows what they're doing is going to win. Like, the person with skill is going to win over just luck. And again, I like my Texas Hold'em as much as anyone else, but I want my chess. So if I can have more chess than poker, that's what I want. So that said, I've really enjoyed it so far. Hoping to do some content with those. I can't really say much yet because I don't know when they can release it. But
that was my question. I was like, when is it being released?
So the game itself doesn't come out till September. And right now there's like spheres of like if you were to just Google it, you can find like reveals where they've shown cards, but not all the cards for set 1 have even been revealed yet. But as far as public knowledge, not everyone even knows what the sample decks are, except for the handful of stores that were selected to be a part of that initial event. So I don't even know when they're allowing people to do content, but I know that they had asked us to come back and record live games. So we're going to be one of the first to put up content up as soon as it's available, which is kind of cool. Like, anyone else doing it right now is just simply taking proxies or playing online on like Tabletop Simulator and just doing their own thing without any full knowledge of what those decks look like. But we'll be the first ones playing with those pre-constructed decks, which is really cool. So, but yeah, I'm excited for it. Again, it may not be anything that becomes more like than what I'm thinking now. Like it may flop hard, but I know the store at least that had the stuff, like talking to them, like they're pretty heavily invested in it. Like they're gonna plan to run a lot of competitive stuff, and they're one of the ones that right now that do a ton with Magic. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see. But more info on that one on the way. We already talked about Mario Kart World, so I don't need to say much more about that. Game is fun. I finally beat Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. So I finished that, and actually I think it's funny, as far as gameplay, I think I ended up liking Order of Ecclesia more in the end because of the whole power fantasy. Portrait of Ruin is, I don't know if you guys have played it or not.
Little. I didn't even come close to beating it though.
So I felt like that game, you get to a certain point in the game, and it's way earlier than I think it should be, that you just become unstoppable. Like you can just one-shot the bosses because of some of the item crashes you get. So the game kind of got a little trivial. Like I was really disappointed in the fight at the end because I'll spoil it. Just if the very last fight is a tag team fight between Death and Dracula. It's kind of famous now. Like it was one of these things that came up that it's such a cool thing for them to do in theory, but then the actual fight itself is just disappointingly easy because of these item crash. Like the dual crash abilities you get are just insane for how much damage they do. But the story itself is really, really cool. I wish Zach was here for this part. So the story is actually a sequel to the Genesis game Castlevania Bloodlines, which is really cool. So I gotten far enough and realized, oh, this actually ties directly in, and it was different enough, but then had a relevant way to tie into the story with Dracula, and more like the typical someone's trying to resurrect the castle and bring Dracula back to life. And but yeah, both games were really fun. I'm glad I finished them both. I guess the next thing, if I'm going to continue on with those games, I've got to find the more obscure ones to finish up. But after that, then I'll have played them all, which would be cool. But before I get to that, I started another game a friend of ours had recommended, and I think we've all talked about wanting to play it. I have started Clair Obscure Expedition 33.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say anything about it until I finish the game, other than I'm not very far in, and yeah, I have nothing else to base it on, and it's game of the year, game of the decade type of material.
That's what I heard too. Yeah,
this game's a masterpiece. It did not take long for me to get sucked in. I'm so sucked in. The game is incredible.
I'm drowning in games right now. It's annoying me. I have Death Stranding 2 and fucking Cyberpunk that I want to play on my Switch.
But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it though. I'm not very far. I'll save it for more, especially if others get to play it. We talk more in depth about it. But yeah, it didn't take long. I've already had emotional diarrhea. The game is like a beautiful tragedy. It's wonderful.
Yep.
But yeah. Anyway, that's all I've got.
Well, then I'll go last. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that I have would have been stuff to discuss with Zach, but I guess I'll just go over real quick. Who cares? I watched the Austrian Grand Prix. It was fine. It was pretty cool. I watched the British Grand Prix. It was fucking great.
I saw your messages,
nice.
and I was like,
it was like the race of the
it.
year so far. Like it was really exciting. It rained and everything got all crazy, and like even like the best cars were having trouble, and Nico Hülkenberg got a podium for the first time in his career. He is the F1 driver who has driven the most before finally getting a podium, but he got one and he deserved it, and it was awesome. And there have been many jokes about everyone liked that, and everyone's excited about him. And it's like, oh, Lando Norris won? Who cares?
Because you guys he's called Incredible Hulk, right?
Yeah.
The nickname, yeah.
And the team
great.
he's driving for this year even has a green livery, so it works really well.
That's wonderful. Well, good for him.
Yeah, no, he's great, and it's funny. The trophies were Lego for Silverstone for some reason, and they look cool and everything. But like in the post race thing, Oscar Piastri, second place, was asking him. He said, you worked all these many years to finally get a podium, and you finally get one, and the trophy's made out of Lego. How do you feel about that? He said, oh, well, my daughter likes Lego, so I'm happy about it. He's just always just such a nice guy. He's a likable person, and everyone wanted him to get a podium, and he finally did. And like, there isn't a single F1 fan who isn't excited. Like, everyone likes all these other drivers and teams, but Nico Hulkenberg getting a podium is like the one thing that has united all of Formula One fandom. It's very funny.
You gotta like that though, right? It's like it doesn't matter who your favorite is. Everyone's rooting for this guy because he's the underdog in this way, and he finally got it.
He'll never be world champion, not in that car, but like everyone's like, yes, this is good. I like this a lot. And I guess speaking of Formula One, I also saw F1 the movie. I didn't talk about that last week, right? It's been okay. I thought it had been at least a little bit. The trailer makes it look like it's going to be a very by the numbers, like sports drama with a romance in it. And it is a sports drama and there is romance in it, but the story does a lot of really interesting things that I think makes the movie worth seeing. I liked it a lot. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an F1 fan. Honestly, you'd probably like it more if you weren't an F1 fan, because there's like little things in it that are like, well, that's not realistic. That's pretty stupid, but you can still enjoy it. It's shot wonderfully well. Like, it's like all the races are really exciting and it's worth going to see, and the soundtrack's really good. Honestly, I think one of the best parts of the whole movie is the opening scene. He's not even in F1 at the time. Like, he's doing a bunch of other random, they mention at some point, like he did NASCAR for a while and he's WC for a while and he does Baja racing and stuff like that. But it opens with he's woken up in the middle of the night at the Daytona 24 hours, and he goes and does the night stint of the drive, and it's just really exciting, and it's playing a Led Zeppelin song, and it's edited real exciting, and it's a good movie. Go see it. I liked it a lot. I watched some short movies. I haven't had a lot of time to like watch a lot of movies at home, but Criterion has this thing where it's called timely recommendations, and you can choose only display movies that are 90 minutes or less, 60 minutes or less, 30 minutes or less, or 15 minutes or less. So I watched a couple like 1 hour short film things. One of them's a Martin Scorsese thing he did in like the late 60s, I think. And all he's doing is interviewing this guy who was the tour manager for someone. I can't remember. But it's just them sitting around on a couch talking about this guy's life. It's fine. It's not great. Like, it's cool. There's one part where like he's sitting on the couch with him, Scorsese is, and it shows him, and they start chanting this thing from a story, and Marty looks at the camera and kind of like does a hand thing, like he's directing the cameraman to like, okay, now look over there. It's interesting, but whatever. You'd really only never need to watch it if you're trying to watch every Martin Scorsese movie, which I wasn't necessarily trying to do. I just wanted something short, and it said Scorsese. And I was like, well, I'll fucking watch this. It's called American Boy, something. I can't remember. It's a long title. It's fine. I also watched 24 Hours in the Life of a Clown, which is a black and white French movie about a famous clown. And it was actually kind of interesting. Like, it's literally like the guy was a very famous clown, and it's just 24 hours in his life, and he has a dog and a partner, and they go watch people shopping at the market to think of bits, and then they think of bits and perform them at the circus. It's fine. It's not it's not a life-changing movie or anything, but it's kind of entertaining. I think that's all I watched. Oh, I watched a bunch of South Park because something short. Had to watch something short. So I was watching. I guess a new season is finally coming out. Maybe I don't know if you guys saw, but they released a statement. There's supposed to be a new season of South Park soon, but they're merging with some other company, and it's been like a total shit show. So Matt and Trey put out a public statement apologizing and saying the merger is a shit show and it's ruining South Park.
That's very on brand for them.
That's what I thought. So, yeah, it checks out. Okay, I'm glad to see they haven't lost it. And then besides that, I've just been watching like Pokemon card stuff. Like I'm still committed. Like, I'm not very into chasing product right now because it's such a fucking headache. But if I run into it, I'll pick some up, whatever, who cares? I'm not paying over MSRP though. I'm not do anything like that. There's a few singles. I'll get them on eBay or TCG Player, and that's kind of it. And other than that, like if I see them at work or I see them when I'm getting groceries, I'll pick up some cards. But I made a slight push again with Big Trouble Rips, and for some reason have been getting a ton of traction, which is weird because the stuff I'm putting up now is way lower effort than the stuff I was doing before. So
that's always like that, because I think there's a market of people that are still trying to chase down early YouTube days type of content.
I guess so. But like, I still got like my overlay and stuff, but I would like meticulously edit and put in all these like the prices and sound effects. And I have bumpers like at the end. Make sure you like, follow, comment, subscribe, listen to Big Trouble podcast, whatever. Now it's just, you can do pretty much all of it from your phone. So I just open a couple packs, open YouTube, make a short, upload it, give it a title. I don't even put hashtags or anything in it. I just, okay, whatever. It's in YouTube now. And like 20 minutes went by and I had like 100 views. I was like, what is going on? I checked again today. Like it's been up for, I don't know, 12 hours, 14 hours, almost 1,000 views.
Yeah. That's how that's how
most
it goes.
viewed video on the whole channel. What is going on? But anyway, if you're listening, if you're a fan of the podcast, please go follow Big Trouble Rips. I'm focusing on shorts right now. I'll have some long content if I can get my hands on like some ETBs or something big. But otherwise, it's just I have a ton of product built up that I was like, I'll open this on the show. I'll open the show later. I'll open the show later. So I can't find anything in stores, but I still got like 2 shoe boxes full of stuff to open. So you'll be seeing that for the next few months. But yeah, that's it for me. A bunch of racing stuff and some card stuff. And Zach died. So
yeah, Nintendo decided to kill him because he didn't buy a Switch 2.
Yep.
Nintendo sucks, and then
they got us all in their crosshairs. We better watch out. But anyway, make sure that you, speaking of liking and commenting and subscribing, do that to this show as well. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast. I think you can listen to us on the Amazon Music app.
Yep.
Turns out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're everywhere. And, of course, if you want to see us, we're on YouTube. And that's always the quickest way to get the new stuff. But if you want the fine, like, manicured product, you got to check out the podcast on all the other stuff. But, yeah, leave a comment. Tell us what you hate about the show, and we'll read it, and we'll pretend like we're going to do something about it, and then we won't. So, or maybe we will. I don't know. I'll take some constructive criticism. Give it a shot. See what happens. Maybe we'll mention you on the show. Maybe we'll ridicule you. I doubt it.
Yeah, well, maybe we won't. I mean, anyway.
But make sure you watch Heat and you watch Children of Men.
Yes, and
you're welcome because this movie's both rule.
Yes, we had a good month. AI fed us well. All right, well, peace out, guys. See you guys later. Zach says bye.